HorrorDeconstruction.
A pirate walks into a bar with a steering wheel attached to his crotch. He walks in and the bartender says, "What's that about?" And the pirate says, "I don't know, but it's driving me nuts." What's up, everybody? It's the HorrorDeconstruction. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, mostly on YouTube.
Oh boy.
Give us a like, subscribe, share, for the love of Pete. With your host, Komp, and
Psychology Trousers.
as well as
Thea.
Today we're discussing
Clarice. I almost said 1921. 2021.
Clarice 1921. Say there, you want to go investigate these
We're
guys?
back in time.
You want to invest these guys?
Clarice would have one of those like Uzi machine gun things with like the big wheel attached to it. What are they called?
Like a steampunk gun?
like the kind that you crank with like your hand and you just shoot.
Oh yeah. Say there, young lady. We'll allow you to talk. You want to investigate this guy making clothes out of the women? Anyway, Clarice 19. Sorry, jeez, you got me saying it. 2021. A look at the untold personal story of FBI agent Clarice Starling, as she returns to the field about a year after the events of The Silence of the Lambs, 1991, created by Alex Kurtzman. Jenny Lumet, starring Rebecca Breeds.
I know that name,
Breeds.
Alex
Yeah,
Kurtzman.
you know what that's about.
Who's Alex Kurtzman?
Michael Cudlitz, Jane Atkinson, and a whole bunch of other people. So, Thea, why did we do Clarice? Just to torture Danny, or ourselves as well?
Definitely ourselves. I think I was just
I
curious
wouldn't
to
call
see
it
what
torturous. I don't know. Go on.
I would. To see what another like Hannibal Silence of the
Spin-off
Lambs show would look like.
It was funny because I don't think we were originally going to cover it, but I think you and I were just like, fuck it. You know, we were just like, whatever. This will be a short episode, sort of.
Well, I wanted to watch it, you know.
Yeah, so this will be a short episode, sort of covering the first 3 to 4 episodes of the show, or actually, it's probably
Well, I only saw 2.
3.5 episodes because I literally forgot I was watching the show midway. I walked out of my room. So
It's easy to do that.
Sophia, why don't we set up what the Clarice the show is and how its look differs from the cinematic efforts?
Do you know if this ties into any of the books at all? Because I read a few of them and I don't recall anything like
It directly ties into the film because they use actual visual stuff. Most notably, the death of Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, but I'm saying, were any of the books after Silence of the Lambs having these topics? I don't recall this.
Yeah. No, it feels like they basically took the movie Silence of the Lambs and didn't read the books and went, okay, if people have seen this movie, what can we make based on that?
Right.
That doesn't reference Hannibal.
So, Thea, what's going on? First, Thea, before now, you can relax and you can sleep easy. Because we had that long conversation. If you want to listen to our episode based on Silence of the Lambs, we have a pretty interesting discussion about trans actors and representations of trans in film horror and stuff like that. But we cast a trans actor to play Buffalo Bill, played by
We only see clips of death.
Well, you see the back of
Well, they
them.
haven't been in the show yet, right? Yeah. Jen Richards, well, but I feel like those shots weren't of Jen, though. I feel like those
You
are
think
from
so?
the movie,
No,
aren't
I
they?
think that would have to be. I'm sure it has to be her.
It feels like they're using, well, we'll see. Anyway, I don't know yet.
But doesn't that defeat the purpose? Because
I mean, I'm
Buffalo
familiar
Bill
with
was
Jen,
not
I'm familiar with Jen
trans
Richards,
in-
and she's great, and I feel
Does
like
does that look like Jen
see-
Richards from the back or something?
It doesn't to me,
Okay.
but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, with the look of the show, so Thea, first of all, what's different between this show and the 1991 film starring Jodie Foster and who's that other guy? Hannibal Lecter. Who's the other guy? How can I forget that?
Just Hannibal Lecter.
Okay,
he's
go ahead.
Odin
What's different?
from Thor. Anthony
There you go,
Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins. So Thea, what's going on with this show and its transition to this show? Well, I didn't mean to say that, but you know what I mean.
So basically, we're picking up right after Buffalo Bill has been put away.
Oh my god.
And basically we're seeing Clarice deal with the traumatic psychological effects, theoretically, of like what happened to her and also to the victims. And then basically she gets thrown right back into the field because Catherine's mother is a attorney general and brings her on VICAP to solve crimes, to solve more serial murders.
So that's right.
And
So that's
she's not
the basic
really ready for it.
That's what
That's
she
the basic
does.
premise of the
she
show.
solves the
And
crimes.
there's a huge difference in the look of this show. The thing is, it
yeah.
feels like it's borrowing from 3 looks, and none of them are from the film. Oh, strangely enough, one of them is a standard CBS procedural show. Yeah,
Like
because
an
CBS
NCIS.
has a bunch of shows.
That's
Yeah.
what I felt
What
mostly
they did
with
is
the
they
show.
took a character, a well-known character, out of a property that people like for a certain reason, and then they just dropped them into their NCIS, CSI, SPIC, JEWS.
What's SPIC one?
Why don't you listen?
Solving particularly interesting
Crimes.
No.
Surreptitiously.
Yeah.
Try to guess the JEWS ones. That's even. All right, so so what they do is that the look of it is they borrowed, and even if they won't admit to it, they definitely took stuff from Hannibal here, because they use that oral sort of, and then I'm saying AURAL soundscape of sort of ambient noise, which was heavily used. And I'm not saying Hannibal's the first show to use that, but it's pretty fucking obvious that, you know, Hannibal and this are in the same universe, barely. They do that, and then they use a plethora of slow motion visual stuff. The difference.
Close-ups and
Imagine the
artsy
finale of
close-ups.
this show is you see Clarice in the bathroom and she gets some water splash in her face, and then you see makeup run off and it's Will underneath.
If only the writing was that good. But they use that, and the thing is, what they take away from the show itself is that from the film, there are no close-ups of authority figures as they did in the show. They used no visual. It's so funny because when you watch the original Silence of the Lambs from 1991, it seems like from the outset it seems like pedestrian, like just a regular crime movie, the way that it's shot. But there's very specific visual cues, as in every male character is full frame of their face when it's in an authoritarian sort of thing. And we discussed that in the episode talking about the film itself. And only towards the end, Clarice's face is full frame. So she sort of joins them in the ranks of an authority figure. None of that is in this show.
Right.
It's all by the book, sort of medium shot, medium close-up stuff. So that's gone. Something they could... Because if you can be like, oh, well, it's doing its own thing. But they're using the same fucking visual motif of the way Buffalo Bill died in the movie. You know, where I don't know. I guess it was she in the movie when she fell back. Because I don't know if her character had transitioned that, or they had a weird vibe about Buffalo Bill in that one anyway, for the fact that they called him Buffalo Bill. So Buffalo Bill in the movie falls back and is gurgling up blood and spitting it out, and they use that same visual motif in this. So this is directly taking from that. Like, there's no question. That's the same visual that they use. Because I remember when I saw that in the movie, I was like, geez, that's horrible looking. So they're using that. So this is taking place, obviously, in the movie universe. It's not taking place from the book. So they use that, and they try to do all the slow motion shit.
I should reread
they
the
do all
book.
the slow motion shit. I've never read the books. But, Thea, what's your just sort of layman's take on the visual look of the show and how it goes?
Are the lambs still screaming?
I mean, it is. It's literally just NCIS. Like, it's literally just one of those shows, and it's sort of sad because, like, it feels like they are sometimes trying to emulate like an artsy Hannibal look, occasionally. But the bigger problem I have is that it's supposed to be a time period piece.
It does
and
not.
It does not look 90s.
That's the one thing I thought, because I think that's a good idea to keep it in 90s, so you don't have sort of modern. You don't have the internet as crazy, and you don't have cell phones that can get you, the answer within 5 seconds. So that's a good aspect. But watching it, I was like, what 1990 fucking 3 is
But they have
this?
futuristic hair clips in this.
Yeah, well, and I keep forgetting that, like, they're in the 90s because
Absolutely.
everything looks modern.
And I know if we were back then in that time, everything would look modern at that time, but this looks nothing like any of that from then. It just, the way it's lensed and everything.
Do you think that when our parents grew up, everything was black and white?
That's what it was. Just one day one day they woke up
They
and
didn't
everything
have
was
color.
color, and they lost their minds like a Lovecraft book. But Danny, so Danny, what
like
what
Wizard
was
of
the
Oz.
appeal of
WandaVision.
Silence of the Lambs compared to what the fuck is the appeal of this show?
Well, Silence of the Lambs had appeal,
That's fascinating question answer.
and this, not so much. But it's a little. This I don't know. This is very generic.
Yeah,
it
'cause
felt very generic. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like bad. I don't know. Like I could see my mom liking the show or something. You know.
Because what? Yeah, well, there's a lot of commercials for Prevagen and osteoporosis commercials.
What's
and shit
Prevagen?
in the
Is that a
middle of it, so you
vagina
realize-
thing?
That's for your mind. Well, if you want to fuck the pill, I assume. But
Can you
I
insert it
guess
into the vagina? That's the key.
the appeal of the show?
Can and should are very different.
The
Okay.
appeal of the film is that, or the the Hannibal sort of series and the movies and stuff like that. Because even the Hannibal television series sort of went an extreme in its own way compared to the films, but it's essentially the same sort of reason why you go to see Hannibal or Silence of the Lambs, because it's a serial killer film.
Yeah.
And the draw and the pathos of
They
these
definitely got
horrible
rid of
people.
the horror feeling. There was no horror
Right.
feeling in this.
Yeah.
Right, and the thing is, they try to do that with this by showing Buffalo Bill sewing up skin, and you're like, oh my god, it's frightening. It's
Yeah, but
not.
they do
It's
it in
just
like this weird. It
seven.
felt the way they did it felt 90s, like in a cheesy
So yeah, they
sort of
took
way.
that. That's the other thing, that they took that from Seven. You know, that whole quick cutting.
Yeah, yeah,
David
yeah.
Fincher
But it feels like they
stuff
did
where
like a
it's-
cheap version of it.
Yes, exactly, and that's what's gone from this show, because now it becomes a procedural with an overarching
and listen to this.
conspiracy.
The boss, I knew I kind of recognized him. Guess who it is?
Yeah, I recognize him too, but I don't know from what.
Is Abraham from The Walking Dead.
Oh shit! Wow, he cleans up pretty good.
Yeah, right?
Good for him. I guess when this guy hit him over the head.
I
with
mean,
batons.
it's not like a bad show. Like this isn't a bad show, and I feel bad because they're all good actors and stuff. It's just like
Okay,
I don't know. It's not like for horror
I
people.
think
It's not for horror
Michael
people.
Cudlitz, who plays Paul Krenler, is much better, because apparently the bat knocked his facial hair off because he looks like a completely different guy. So there's we'll get to
What's her name? Vivian or something? The
we'll
bat?
get to Clarice
Lucille.
in a second.
Lucille has
but,
that power.
the secondary characters are sort of your stale, whatever. At least they have a Latino actor in this, but then already they were like, oh, I'm Brazilian, Colombian, and Italian, so
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. It's like some racist joke. Like, this is the type of show where it's like mainstream television, where one of the jokes that I was watching the 4th episode, and like I was saying, I forgot I was watching the show when I walked out of the room, is that I guess the funny guy of the show, the older guy with the glasses, he's on a phone because they put him on desk duty the whole.
Is he funny?
No, he's not to me. But they put him on phone duty because they put the whole crew on phone duty because a character gets murdered that wasn't supposed to be murdered in FBI thing, and the guy was like, "Oh, honey, lady, we can't arrest your boyfriend because this is FBI unless he steals your panties and takes them across state lines." So it's like that kind of comedy, like old people humor.
Yeah.
I'm an
Boomer
old
humor.
guy. But then, like, you can imagine, like, an old guy, like, drinking tab. Like, oh, that's hilarious. Anyway.
He's drinking pop.
Yeah. So they have a Latino character. They have Michael Cudlitz. They did bring, I guess her name was Ardelia Mapp, her friend in the movie. The young African-American cop. She's also an FBI agent. They bring her
Yeah.
character over as her roommate, and she's sort of like stale kind of humor as well. I don't know. In the 4th episode, at least she's doing more. For some reason, Cal Penn is here.
Wait, don't spoil the 4th episode.
Cal Penn is here from Harold and Kumar. If you remembered, he stopped acting for a while to work for Obama to do stuff.
Is he one of the main guys?
Yeah, he's one of the two guys. You've seen Harold and Kumar, right? Well, at least heard of it.
I know who they are.
Yeah, he's one of the main guys
Right.
in the show, and like I'm more worried about the other guy, Harold John Cho, because apparently he's a good actor, but he's playing Spike Spiegel in Cowboy Bebop, the live-action version for Netflix, which I'm like,
Okay.
Anyway, go watch Cowboy Bebop.
Hey,
It's a
maybe
good
it'll
show.
be good. I mean, Walter White was played by the Malcolm in the Middle guy.
That's true. So let's get to the main lead, Clarice Starling. Thea, what's your initial feeling of Clarice Starling and how she's portrayed in this show?
Tell us all about
I think it feels like confused. Like it feels like it doesn't really know who she is. And it's not like we don't have a source material to base it on. It's just hard to find that much depth to her in this for some reason. Like she feels sort of like a little bit poor me, because everybody's mad at her all the time.
I'd be mad at her
because,
too.
Because she jumped up.
If I was in there, I'd be like, "Fuck you, Clarice."
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the problem is it feels like there isn't, like, unlike Hannibal, where it felt like there was really deep psychology going on every episode. It doesn't feel like there's any deep psychology going on here, which is a problem for a show about.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and it's as for just for the basic premise of us saying that it was supposed to be serial killers, and then they turn it to some corporate
like corruption.
Yeah, corporate corruption and an overarching fucking conspiracy. It's like I don't want to see that. I want to see guys chopping off penises and using it as a nose
Serial
mask.
Killers.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. Not that. Well, who gives a fuck about this? I could go watch QIJS or whatever fucking shows they have there. It doesn't matter. It's stupid.
What
That's
does
the best one.
QIJS stand for? Hold on, wait. Let's think of it.
Criminal something.
No, there's a Q.
Criminal.
Queefing in the justice system. That's what it is.
Oh, that
Anyway,
works.
I would watch it.
but
I would watch
like,
that.
and it's not to take away from the main actress. She's okay, but like there was something about
But the
Jodie.
writing's bad, so like,
yeah,
you
absolutely.
can't do much.
And I think also it's just Jodie Foster had something completely different. Like Jodie Foster, like they do play up the pathos of her having, you know, trauma in her life because she loses a family member in the line of duty, and she just wants to kind of continue that line of work. And here, you just like, I guess they gave her dad's like deputy hat or something to them, and they're washing out in the sink because they keep replaying that same fucking image of them, a bloodied hat, like.
Yeah, some of the flashbacks were like, what is this? Like, what is this?
But that's when they're
like
trying to
it
be
showed
like
kids doing snow angels, and I'm like, what?
Brian
is this?
Fuller must be like shrieking into his pillow when he watches this show. He just must be so angry because he wanted to put Clarice, but they didn't have the rights for some bizarre reason. They didn't have the rights for Clarice for Hannibal. And honestly, I don't know what trajectory of the show would have went with her in it, because in the books, I think she ends up with Hannibal, and I guess they have a relationship. Like,
well, but how would she have come in? He was so young in the show Hannibal. This is like years before.
But they would have figured it somewhere. I mean, even
her.
Lady Kamiko, who, you know, the wife, she was much older than Hannibal in the books, and I guess she was younger.
You know, it'd be cool if they did like a sci-fi thing where she's like a time traveler and she goes back to his young self.
Listen,
to try
I'd rather
to kill
watch
him
that
to
than
prevent...
this. It's not that the show is horrible. It's actually like I'm at least 4 episodes in, and I will play it in the background just because I want to figure out how it plays out. So I don't know if that means hey, it's worth watching just because of this. But there's I was telling these people to list shows that are much better, and I can tell you just off bat, you can watch Watchmen from HBO, much better than this.
Yep.
WandaVision, surprisingly.
Is that the comic?
They made an excellent series. It's probably one of the best series I've ever seen. So Watchmen, in the same vein, holy shit, the guy who made the same show about the people that disappeared. What is that called?
Leftovers?
The Leftovers, fantastic fucking series, incredible series.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with a show like this?
I'm just telling you shows that you can watch much better than this.
Yeah, but let's think of cop shows.
Here are some shows that, if you like serial killer things or like cops.
Dexter, the first 4 seasons.
Fargo.
And the new season coming up there.
Hannibal,
yes,
obviously.
Fargo is excellent.
Mindhunter, also good time period.
Fantastic.
Oh, Mindhunter's great.
And of course, they had to pause that show. Fucking bastards.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, COVID.
The Alienist. It's a little bit more old timey, but it's.
I hear
still
that's good. I know it's based on a novel.
Is that about aliens?
No, it's about. It's the same thing as Mindhunter, but it's set in like 1800s essentially.
I don't believe you.
Deal with it.
I think you're lying to me.
Deal with it.
What else?
Fringe. It's not like murder, but it's sort of sci-fi.
That's like a science fiction show, right?
Yeah.
I always heard good things about that too.
What about that old show Dinosaurs from TGIF?
That too. It had a horror, depressing ending, so you might be into that. But also even WandaVision, which just came out. So this shows you, most likely, the best type of television is not going to come from procedural, regular TV shows. Obviously CBS. So I just to quickly go off what the first episodes are, is like it's obviously the first episode is mirroring the original films where they find murdered women, but then it becomes a conspiracy. They catch the guy in the first one. The second one is some sort of Waco, Texas episode, right? So
Yeah,
you're dealing.
that's all I've
That's
seen
when I
so
was
far.
watching that, and I was like, "What the fuck does this have to do with serial killers?" Because that was literally plucked out of any of those generic shows that you watch.
Yeah.
Because like, there's no fucking.
Yeah.
So some guy gets shot, and then I like at the end of that episode, the kid who shot the cop. They're like, "Oh, here's your mom." Oh, okay. He shot a cop. Like, they would beat him with fucking baton
but they
right
don't-
there. He doesn't say anything.
They
like,
don't know he shot
I know,
him,
but is
only
Clarice
she knows.
gonna be like, "No, okay, I'll let that go"? Like, what? And
Do you know one time I watched an entire marathon of NCIS like for like a day straight, like a day, like I just sat and watched like fucking like 20 episodes or something.
how was it?
It's mind-numbing.
Like,
They're designed for
Yeah.
It'll be
no,
Yeah,
you
for-
know, they're designed for older people that are just watching it while they cook dinner. You know, like that's it.
yeah. So it's like some guy in his chair going, "Oh, they caught him!" Oh, you know, he's just watching it, and they'll have like a fucking a cameo by the guy who hosts Wheel of Fortune or some shit like that. So I
Yeah.
mean, that's the kind of level
That's
of this
Pat
series.
Sajak.
You can pretty it up as much as you can, but it's the same generic shit as everything else is. It's just same shit over and over.
I
Go
do
watch
good
streaming crap.
actors though. Good
60
actors.
plus year olds.
It's good actors, but in the end, it's
Yeah.
a total rejection of what the show should be. And it's not that we should say what the show is about, but just in general, the fucking the idea of serial killers and pathos has now become a sort of whitewashed, corny cop drama, and you just like, and it's all surface level pathos. It's just not even worth watching, honestly. But
Yeah.
because I'm 4 episodes in, I will leave it on
Yeah.
in the background just to see what the whole conspiracy is. And then
You
I'm
should
like,
leave it on while you masturbate or take a poop.
well, who says I wasn't doing it in the first? All 3 of those things at the same time.
Wow.
So, any final thoughts on Clarice, the show?
I just want to know if the lambs are still screaming.
Thea?
Always. I have no final thoughts.
So, rating just for the first 3 4 episodes.
Well, I watched the
of
first
show.
2.
First 2 episodes, Danny.
I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. I don't
this
know.
is a
6 out of 10. I can't even think of a rating.
Wow. So I would give this a 4 out of 10. Just thinking about the show itself, like it's just like it got a 4 just because I didn't realize that was Abraham, and I'm impressed by his acting. 4 out of 10. We don't have to rate it. Yeah, just 4 out of 10. Thea, what rating would you give Clarice, the show? Even though I have OCD, the show is so boring. I don't care because I would be like, I'd force you guys to find something, but this is so boring.
I'm still trying.
Thea, what rating would you give the show?
5 out of 10. Get Cal Penn a better show 2021.
Absolutely. Oof. He fucked up by stop acting for a while, right?
I
Oof.
know.
Who did? Who?
Cal Penn.
Who
I don't
is
know what
that?
his ethnicity is, so I don't want to just say that guy. You know, he's from Harold and Kumar.
Oh,
So
wow,
with that,
okay.
So with that, Thea, what's the final word?
Field.
Danny, what's the final word?
Pilot in a plane. Pilot.
The HorrorDeconstruction.